say you never leave me nor forsake me. And even after everything I've done to you, after knowing you, and you still with me, I'm thankful. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and my sisters, welcome back to Joe the Street Preacher's channel. I know I've been away for a while, but I have been working night and day, week after week, month after month to come up with the money to get into this place right here for me and my wife and our kids. This is our new home in Mexico. This is why you haven't seen. This is one of the reasons why you haven't seen me in a while. We finally got it. I can't really show you my house and the front of the house with the address and stuff like that for personal reasons, but you know, this is the community, the gated community that we live in. We have a nice home. We're right off the beach. So I've been real busy, man. I've been real busy, and you know, I've been staying on the news, and I've been just been into a lot of stuff, man. You know, God has been with me, man, and you know, I just wanted to share, you know, what God has been doing in our life, man. God is good, man. You know, I work hard for this. You know, I didn't take a tithing offering or love offering to get this. I worked hard to get, you know, where we at right here. So I just want to let you know, man, when you're walking with God, man, you're obeying God and you be persistent, man. I mean, there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can't reach. It's not a goal that you can't reach. I just wanted to share that with y'all. But anyway, I am back with a different program. Y'all know me to do my ministry down there on Kingston, trying to save those people from destruction. But now I am back to try to save you from destruction. So that's coming up after this video. Hey, y'all excuse the room, man. That's our room, me and my wife. We're on the second floor of our house. That's upstairs. We're in our bedroom. Our room is junky, man. We just got up that morning and went somewhere, man. We didn't tighten up the room, so y'all forgive me for that. I wanted y'all to see this view we had, this window view, man, where we could actually see, you know, out on the road. The ocean is right there. The ocean, the beach is walking distance. The ocean is right there. And if you look, see, if you look over there, that right there is where the guard shack is at. To come into our place, you have to go through security. And if you don't have that sticker on your car like we do to just come straight on in, you have to go on the other side where security is. And security will call us and let us know, hey, such and such is outside. Do you want me to let them in? And then, you know, it's up to us to say yeah or no, which if we tell anybody to come to our house, they're going to come. But that's just how that is. You see the palm trees, and like I said, that's the ocean over there. So yeah, man, I just wanted to share this with y'all, man, and here we go. Hey, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I've been busy, as you see in the beginning of the video. You know, I had to work hard to make sure me and my wife was in a good place. We love our new home. We thank God for it. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of driving. Y'all know I'm a truck driver, and I burn that road up to make some money, you know. So so I did what I had to do for me and my wife so we could move into our house. Because to be honest with you, man, some of you guys, man, that's been watching this channel for a while, man, you know they broke into our house. And one of our houses, they broke into our house and they stole, you know, a lot of stuff from us. And my wife never really felt safe, you know, ever since then. Even though I got burglar bars, even though I just made that house, you know, surrounded with all type of stuff where you couldn't get in, she still never really felt safe. So, you know, we agreed that we was going to find another house. We wanted to get a bigger house anyway. We got a super big house now. And just thank God for it. You know, God is good. So that's why I've been, you know, I've been doing that. But even though I've been tied up doing that, I still been looking at the news, and I've been observing a lot of stuff. And you know, I was reading in the Bible the other day when it was talking about being a watchman. And a watchman is somebody, In the Old Testament, a watchman in Jerusalem, in the city of Jerusalem, they had a wall around that city, right? That was their protection. Like how we have in America our borders, which is down and we're not protected. But they had a wall surrounded their whole city that the enemy couldn't just walk in or invade them that easy. And on top of that wall, they had guys all around the wall because they would take shifts on looking across the field that if they see any type of movement of the enemies coming this way, they will sound alarm to the city, and everybody in the city, the army and everybody will be prepared because they will know that, okay, there's some horsemen coming. That's the enemy. You know, they can see this days off, way off. And they can, when they sound alarm, they cause the people in the city to start preparing. You know, the people will start going to pack up on food, stack up on food, stack up on water and things like that, get everything prepared. They will go to their little safe place and stuff like that because the watchman has given them warning that danger is coming to the city. So by me studying the Bible and by me watching the news, and I'm not talking about the regular news because the regular news ain't informing us on the things that we need to know. So by me watching real news, which I'm going to reveal that to you later on, it causes me to know that majority of the people watch the wrong news. So if they're watching the wrong news, they're not hearing the right news. So me being a watchman and seeing these things, it's my job to report it to you. Amen. So I'm going to give you a metaphor right here. I thought about this when I was sitting in my truck. I was sitting in my truck at the light because my truck had broke down, not at the light. I was at a stop sign. My truck broke down. It wouldn't move. I couldn't get it into gear. So we had called the people for them to come out there and fix it. But while I was waiting, I had my hazard lights on. And even though I had my hazard lights on, people are still pulling up behind my truck and staying there for like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, not noticing that the hazard lights are blinking. And hazard lights mean those lights indicate that there is something wrong with the vehicle. It's trying to get your attention with the lights, but people ain't paying attention. People sleeping at the wheel. They're being distracted by something. I don't know what they're thinking about. I don't know what they're looking at. But what I know they ain't looking at is the lights that is blinking before them that is telling them that it is something wrong with this vehicle, so you need to go around. Everybody who got their driver's license know what hazard lights mean because it's on the test. You know, so how could you not know? You know, I had to literally get out of my truck to go tell this guy that's been sitting there about 20 minutes, sir, I have hazard lights on. These lights are blinking in your face. Do you know what hazard lights mean? And it woke him up where he was not literally asleep. Remember, I said this is a metaphor because I'm going somewhere else with it. But it woke him up to say, I didn't even, yeah, man, I don't know what I'm thinking about. And he drove around and went out. I had to go wake him up. Look at this. I don't want to just tell you about this. I didn't videotape me talking with that guy. I'm just telling you what happened. I didn't want to put the video in his face. But look at what I'm showing you right here on how people are sleeping at the wheel. Look at that. And I'm going somewhere with this, so hang in there because I'm going somewhere with this. This is a metaphor. I'm telling you about this, but I'm talking about something else. Look at my experience, what I went through. I want you to see this. I hope this ain't you too. I hope you ain't one of the people that be behind my truck or other people's trucks or other people's cars that got hazard lights on. If it is, it's time to wake up. Let's check it out. And as you can hear the hazard lights blinking, but they still choose to stay behind. And the purpose, I'm showing you that we in America, we're not only sleepwalking, but we are sleep driving. Because here it is, you're parked behind a truck who has hazard lights on, and you're still hanging out there. Look, still got the hazard lights blinking. And they're still just sitting there, sleeping at the wheel. Sleeping at the wheel. I'm going to see, now that truck has gone out the way, I'm going to see if he's going to take off now. Sleeping at the wheel. Look at that. I want to see how long he's gonna stay there before he realized. Just a little while ago, I had to literally go out the truck because a guy stood there. He was back there about 10 minutes. Right? This is not a light. We are at a stop sign. This is not a light, right? Oh, now they finally go. So there goes another one sitting behind me. Still got these hazard lights on. But people, like I say, are sleeping at the wheel. Their mind is not focused on what's in front of them. What's in front of them is a truck with hazard lights on. Hazard lights are a warning to the vehicle behind it that something is wrong with the vehicle. But they're still sleeping at the wheel. Hazard lights are flashing, but they are not moving. Their mind is somewhere else. I don't know if they're on their phone or they're so caught up in the conversation they're not really paying attention. I don't know if they're looking at the grass, the sidewalk, they're looking at the building. I don't know if they're going down La La Land. I don't know what the problem is. But one thing I can say, they are asleep. Now this person is waking up and the person behind them now is waking up. Hazard lights, blink. So here's another angle of the truck with the hazard lights on, and you see the people just standing right behind it, sleep driving. See it? The hazard lights are on, and these people are patiently waiting behind the truck that has the hazard lights on. Wake up, America. Wake up. Just in case you may think that, well, maybe his hazard lights are not working in the back. Because these people couldn't possibly park behind them with hazard lights on. So just in case you're thinking it, I'm going to back up. You can actually see both blinkers at the bottom blinking, both blinkers at the top blinking. See that? Both blinkers, top and bottom. Hazard, hazard, hazard. We're sleeping, man. In America, we're sleeping at the wheel. I'm showing you this for a reason. I'm about to tell you the reason right now. Saw that? And that was crazy, right? Those people were standing behind me for a minute, you know, and they just didn't see the hazard lights. You know, the hazard lights was blinking in their face. I took you to the back of the truck. The hazard lights is blinking in their face, and they're daydreaming. You know, they're sleeping at the wheel. I don't know what they're being distracted by. I've said this many times. I don't know if they're being distracted by something they're thinking about. You know, they're going down memory lane or they're looking somewhere else, but they're not paying attention to the flashing lights that are right in front of them. Those flashing lights are speaking to them, and it's telling them that it is something wrong that's in front of them. You know, so they can make preparations to, you know, get out of that situation instead of prolonging. I told you I had to get out the car. I didn't have that on videotape. I had to go wake a guy up, man. I thought he was gonna get mad. I just didn't want him to see. He was sitting behind me 20 minutes. Ain't even no light that long, and I'm not at a light. I'm at a stop sign. Why would you sit behind a car 20 minutes without investigating what's going on? That's crazy. So I say that to say this. I was a metaphor. A metaphor is when you're saying one thing, but you're talking about something else. See, I'm letting you know, I'm revealing something to you in that because we can understand that. You know, we can understand people doing it. Some of us is probably guilty of doing that ourselves. You know what I'm saying? But I want to show you the real flashing lights that are flashing. And the question is, do you see these flashing lights? Are you like those people behind my truck, just sitting there, being distracted by something else when these warning lights, these blinking lights, these flashing lights are flashing in front of you? Look at these flashing lights, and you tell me, have you seen these flashing lights? Look at this.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now. Through weakness and incompetence, Joe Biden has brought us to the brink of World War III. We're at the brink of World War III, just in case anybody doesn't know it. Because we're giving away so much equipment. We don't have ammunition for ourselves right now. We don't have ammunition for ourselves. We're giving away so much. But here's the thing. I have to say it to start off. No longer matters. If I were president, this would have never happened. For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine. These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now we're teetering on the brink of World War III. And a lot of people don't see it, but threats by various countries of the use of nuclear weapons, something never mentioned or discussed by outside nations during the Trump administration, and which could very well lead under the Biden administration's leadership to an all-out nuclear World War III can happen. We're not very far away from it, believe it or not.
Something big is about to happen in Ukraine. Either NATO packs its crap up and goes home, gets the hell out of there, because the fall of Ukraine is imminent. That's one option. Or the West is moving toward full-scale war with Russia.
100,000 NATO soldiers would be sent to our territory for immediate defense. According to him, these are postulates which are approved by NATO within the framework of the defense plans. You know, those Cold War 2.0 plans that they've revised recently. I mean, guys, they're getting ready for World War III right before our eyes. This is not some obscure prophecy. This is not nuclear alarmism. This is it. F-16s, Abrams tanks, and all that stuff, they're ready to open the floodgates this autumn. And let's just hope that there's no extremely cold weather this winter.
I want to put into perspective what you are facing. You are looking at a time right now where we could be at war at any time. We just put the 101st Airborne Division into Europe to back NATO up, and the Pentagon said yesterday they are ready to go. They could go into Ukraine at any time. That's terrifying. Do you want the United States to be at war with our soldiers, with Russia in Ukraine? By the way, that will only make your gas, your food, everything else much more expensive.
And you will learn if this occurs, that is the least of your worries.
Yes.
You will not be caring about gas prices if this thing breaks out in real terms.
This is not good at all. Not good at all.
Joining me right now is Fox News senior strategic analyst. He is chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. He is General Jack Keane. General, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Yeah, great to be here, Maria.
So I know that there was open source reporting already out there that China would invade Taiwan within 18 months. But to hear Anthony Blinken say this, that the calendar has been moved up and that the CCP has decided that it is going in, was quite striking. What is your reaction to this?
What that means is we don't have the deterrence that we used to have. So we're incentivizing President Xi to act sooner rather than later because he believes ultimately the United States will likely catch up. But the truth is we're not catching up. Why? Because President Trump made a down payment to catching up, but inflation has taken away the advantage of the increase in the Biden defense budget. It's not there. There really isn't a significant plus up in terms of what we need. We are in a very dangerous situation because if we got into a war with China, I think most of us know what would possibly happen. We can lose. And every war game we play tells us the same thing. And I was just involved in one a few weeks ago. This is a very dangerous situation that we're presenting to the American people because we are incentivizing President Xi to take action.
But I appreciate you joining me because we have big news to talk about. the world could end tomorrow because we have major threat of nuclear war. We have had for a long time, and that rhetoric seems to be escalating. Is it true? Is it going to happen? If the world ends tomorrow, just don't wake me up.
When I get this information, I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to keep giving it to you until it starts to prove wrong. All of these ingredients are there, and they say that one trigger is about to pop off, but what I do know is they have given this information to the U.S. government. I saw the plots. I saw all of basically the ingredients there saying this is what's ripe to happen. It's just going to be the trigger, the black swan that's unknown. Now that means you better have all of your little duckies in a row, and you better be ready to basically lock down your own house. You have to have a good group of people who are there to help protect you and your family. The Russian conflict is going to go to the next level. Now, a lot of people are afraid that that next level is going to be nuclear. They are getting their people ready for a nuclear fallout. This is something that you don't really see talked about right now. They don't want you to think about this because as soon as that happens, we'll launch those freaking nukes against the USA.
Where a government lies to a people and a country is drifting to war.
Putin is ramping up for something big, according to the UK intelligence service. Put another way, we are sitting on the verge of nuclear war after another round of NATO-backed drone strikes hit the heart of Moscow overnight. Here's video of this. Take a look. So just seeing the scenery here and just looking at the skyline of Moscow and, whoa, what the...
Oh.
Hitting apartment complexes. Hitting apartment complexes. Yeah. So the world is on the verge of nuclear war, and NATO seems hell-bent on making it actually happen. This weekend, Victoria Nuland was promoted inside the Biden administration. So Victoria Nuland got a big promotion this weekend.
Well, you know, she's been working on this war for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And that was a big project. When you're handed the project of go start a war with Russia over Ukraine, that was a long one.
Yeah.
She's really been working hard at that.
No, she's the warmonger in chief. So Victoria Nuland, good job there. So she got promoted. And I'm reminded of this when she said, we need to be ready that Putin can use tactical nuclear weapons. You remember this? So this is just a few months ago, she said this. And the she-devil herself admitted we need to be concerned. Why would we be... It's almost like she was ready for it. It's almost like she had an awareness that this was going to happen. Like that Putin's response eventually is going to be, he's going to be so backed into a corner from all of the NATO bullying that this is going to happen.
We did know this. Again, she's been working on this since 2014.
Yeah.
Literally the strings were pull Ukraine, get war with Russia. This was, again, if you were to just put on someone's agenda, go start a war over this, that's what she's been working on. And we know she doesn't give a crap about Europe and how that plays out. There was even leaked tapes where she said, F the rest of Europe, right? So there is an agenda. It has nothing to do with anyone living on the European continent.
So, yeah, we're getting dangerously close to this. And you have to think, well, no, they would never do this. But if you really if you lay it out, and this is exactly what Dmitry Medvedev just said this morning, former Russian president Dmitry Medvedev has warned that there is simply no other way out. There he is with Putin. And he threatened a nuclear response by Russia. Basically what he's saying is if NATO continues to do this, and if NATO tries to have a victory, like a Ukrainian victory, which would mean attacks on Moscow and taking over Crimea and taking all of this land back, that's a non-starter. That means that a nuclear response would be the response. That's what Medvedev is saying. There's no other way out, he says. Do you know what they're playing with here? The attacks are relentless, by the way. Over the past 24 hours, dozens upon dozens of increased drone attacks inside of Russia. Here's just some remnants of these apartment complexes
that have been happening for weeks. So imagine the U.S. response if this had been hitting buildings in Manhattan. constantly, right? And this has been happening not just for days, but for weeks. What would the United States have been doing at this point? You can only imagine, right? If they were coming from outside of the country and we knew it from, say, Canada or Mexico or anywhere in the Caribbean, we would have done something by now. And so we are dangerously close to a response that does not involve just hitting Ukrainian infrastructure.
Friend of the show, Douglas McGregor, says Putin will not stand by as this happens. And now NATO is actively discussing war with Russia. Watch.
The second part, though, is very, very important. And that is that the members are now supposedly openly discussing war plans against Russia. Now, this kind of thing is extremely sensitive, as you can imagine. Yeah. You can imagine the impact on Moscow. Thus far, Putin has held 300,000 troops in reserve, hoping that he doesn't have to commit them because he's always worried about NATO intervention. And at the same time, you have the Poles and Lithuanians who are saying, well, we're going to go in regardless of what the NATO alliance says. And if we go in, we're not really going to drag NATO with us. The problem with that, of course, is that they're part of NATO. And if they do go in, the Russians will treat them as a NATO Trojan horse and they will attack. So we're really on the path to war. And I think we ought to start asking some hard questions of this man who's 80 years old, who has trouble finding his way off the stage, about what he's actually doing. I mean, we're in the hands of a man who is not entirely mentally stable.
What's going on, guys? Jimmy here. We might be on the brink of nuclear war on a twofold front. Take a look here. North Korea is saying, quote, they vow to annihilate the U.S. and says that the U.S. will be terminated this century. I'll give you the details here on that, as well as what Russia is saying, that they'd have to use a nuclear weapon if the Ukrainian offensive was a success. This is coming from Russia's one of their highest ranking officials and their former president, basically second in line to Vladimir Putin. And remember, this comes as we just had a massive meeting between the three of them, Russia, China, and North Korea. And it really seems like they're all getting on the same page here. What seems like to me, a World War II type of situations with the Axis and the Allies. And it seems like they're really teaming up here to show a force against the United States or against really all of NATO, which is 31 almost 32 countries now, with the joining of Sweden and Finland here, which would ultimately make 32 countries in all of NATO. And it really seems like they're trying to make their own type of NATO alliance there. And remember that China alone has almost 1.5 billion people compared to the United States with 330 million people. China alone is almost an entire NATO country. 1.5 billion people. And with Russia, China, and North Korea all having nuclear weapons, this is not something the world would want to see. A nuclear exchange between countries would be the end of days. The end of days. But here's what they're saying here. I'll start with North Korea, and then I'll get to what Russia's saying. North Korea vows to annihilate the U.S., says the country will be terminated this century. North Korea's foreign ministry this week vowed that the country would, quote, annihilate the United States, adding that the U.S. would be terminated this century, saying, quote, should the U.S. choose to offend our republic, which, honestly, in their eyes, the U.S. has already offended them multiple times, sending U.S. nuclear submarines to their border. Should the U.S. offend our republic, we will annihilate them by using our military power that we have gathered so far. The North Korean diplomats said in a statement Thursday, the 70th anniversary of the Korean armistice. The Korean War in the last century marked the beginning of the downfall of the U.S. now, the 21st century would see the irrevocable termination of the U.S. The rulers of the U.S. are well advised to forget on no account the lessons of history.
All right, time for your daily dose of unabashed alarmism. Why, might you ask, am I so unapologetically alarmist about the end of the world as we know it as we approach the 0 day? Well, it's because when we finally do get there, we're going to be kicking ourselves in hindsight saying, why weren't we louder? Why weren't we more aggressive in trying to warn people about the inevitable conclusion that awaits? Well, here's the thing. Let's say you take a supercomputer, right? Or even an iPhone could do this. Hell, a Texas Instrument calculator could run this equation. You input all of the geopolitical variables as they appear on the map right now with all the key players and their preconditions with this war and their corresponding nuclear doctrines and whatnot, and you put all that in to the machine and you say, machine, tell me what the outcome is going to be 99 times out of 100. If you take everybody, all the players on the board, at their word, the inevitable conclusion is going to be nuclear war. 9 times out of 10. Both sides have preconditions. Both sides are saying they're not going to back down unless we get peace talks, unless we get concessions, we get nuclear war. Okay? So understand what is happening right now at this moment in time. Drones are currently attacking Moscow again for the umpteenth night in a row, and S-200 missile systems are firing on Moscow. This is new.
I'll say this, by the way.
Listen closely.
This is to our beloved people of America. Trump is the last president that you must have in 2024.
This is the last stand.
If you don't have Trump, you can kiss your country goodbye. The next superpower is coming, will destroy everything.
Yep. They're coming.
So all those videos you just saw are hazard lights. Those are the lights that are flashing before us on a daily basis. The question is, have you seen those lights? Is this the first time you've seen those lights? Because those lights are flashing. They've been flashing for a while. Have you seen them? Because if you haven't seen them, then that means you also have been distracted. The question is, what have you been distracted by? What is your source of news? Because if your source of news is that, they're not going to tell you that. None of them is going to tell you that. Why? So, why wouldn't they tell us? They're the news. They work for Uncle Sam, which is the government. So they're going to tell you what Uncle Sam wants you to know. And what you don't want to know, they're not going to tell you. Right? So we need to get away. I remember I heard Donald Trump say this a long time ago, and I didn't understand it. This was years ago. I heard him call CNN fake news. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why he called them fake news. Because this is where I used to get my news from, whatever riots is going on, whatever black person's been beaten by the police, whatever going on. That's why I used to get my news at. But I started learning through the years that these people are biased, all of them. And they don't tell us the whole truth, and they don't reveal to us the truth. And they're trying to take us down a path, a new path that this generation was never part of, if you've been watching that yet. But anyway, the lights are flashing. We're going to come back and talk more about these lights. We're going to get deep and deeper into what these lights mean. Why? Because it's very important for us. America is in a lot of trouble, and Uncle Sam don't want us to know that. There's things that's going on right now that can cause America to burn like Maui, to burn with fire. The lights are flashing, brothers and sisters. They're flashing. Pay attention to the flashing lights. Prepare yourself. This channel is to prepare you for what is coming. I'm Joe the Street Preacher. I'll see you on the next upload.
Flashing lights, flashing lights, flashing lights, flashing lights.
She don't believe in shooting stars, but she believe in shoes and cars. Wood floors in the new apartment. Couture from the store's departments. You more like love to start. I'm more of the trips to Florida. Order the hors d'oeuvres, views of the water. Straight from a page of your favorite author. And the weather's so breezy. Man, why can't life always be this easy? She in the mirror dancing so sleazy. I get a call like, where are you, Yeezy? And try to hit you with the old wapty. Till I got flashed by the paparazzi. These got me. I hate these more than a Nazi.
I know you love to show off, but I never thought that you would take it this far. But what do I know? Flashing lights, what do I know? Flashing lights.
I know it's been a while, sweetheart. We hardly talk. I was doing my thing. I know I was foul, baby, hey, babe, lately you've been all on my brain. And if somebody would've told me a month ago, frontin' oh, yo, I wouldn't wanna know. If somebody would've told me a year ago, it'd go get this difficult. Feeling like Katrina with no FEMA, like Martin with no Gina. Like a flight with no visa, first class with the seat back, I still see ya. In my past, you on the other side of the glass of my memories museum. I'm just saying, hey Mona Lisa, come home. You know you can't roam without Caesar.
I know you love to show off, but I never thought that you would take it this far.